Good evening. Tonight on the program, we have the ruling party, ZANU-PF. Welcome, I'm Catherine Munyuki. To discuss critical issues pertaining to the country, its governance, progress, and of course, outside views with regards to the reforms that have been implemented thus far by its own government, is the party's Director for Information, Mr. Farai Muroiwa Marapira. Mr. Marapira, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here again.
I've never had you in winter here. Yeah?
No, never in winter. It's always the summer months. It's always the summer months.
So I hope you come with warmth.
Oh, yes. We, as ZANU-PF, we are a very warm party, very jubilant, we're always happy, and we always bring love and warmth where we go.
But you always have a tight grip using a velvet glove.
No, velvet glove, iron hand. No, not really. But to protect our people and our nation,
Sure.
we will do anything.
Sure.
We will always do anything, yes.
Mr. Marapira, the issue of the performance of the economy has been very topical since the last elections we had in August 2023.
Yes.
This week, the IMF was in Zimbabwe, and we saw them holding meetings with the various key stakeholders, including the ruling ZANU-PF.
Yes.
What's the report card like?
Well, these visits by the IMF simply mean one thing. There is economic progress, and the IMF now is pushing for us to move to a unitary currency, full adoption of the ZiG as a currency. This shows that the IMF in itself is confident with the economic progress that has been occurring under the leadership of President Mnangagwa. And to go back to the election of August 2023, the election was about the economy. The election was about ensuring that we have economic stability, economic growth, and we bring our people towards an upper middle income economy. So these visits by the IMF are in essence, fulfillment of this or endorsement of the trajectory that is being led by the president. Because when the IMF itself starts to show serious belief and faith within our currency, that is a very, very strong sign of the economic foundations that have been laid by the Second Republic.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that came out, in various meetings, was the convergence or near convergence between the official market and the parallel market. And the IMF was actually, tickled by that. And they were cheering Zimbabwe on that and other things that the government has done. Although they are actually saying that you also need to do more to make sure that you foster that the stability that we all yearn for is achieved. As the ruling party, do you think that we are likely to see the ZiG strengthening further and begin to, attract the kind of interest that citizens should have in their own currency going forward?
In all fairness, it is time for all Zimbabweans to know that the ZiG is inevitable. This is something that is coming. This is something that is going to succeed. As you can see from the beginning of his term, the president has not touched anything that has failed, and the ZiG is not going to be the first. So what the IMF has found tickling is the fact that the two discrepancies in the rates are very, very minute. Of course, they will need that attention to bring this disparity to an end. But the fact that we do not have a runaway black market rate as we have had in previous years is actually a sign that the ZiG is indeed working, and it is indeed going to be time soon for the full adoption of the ZiG as Zimbabwe's sole currency.
Mm-hmm. Concerns are subsiding, and inflation is actually going down.
Yes.
But the interest on 2030 hasn't gone down amongst Zimbabweans who continue, to seek to understand exactly what the party intends to do, particularly when its first secretary is quite consistent in saying that he's a stickler for the Constitution, you will go at the expiration of his final term in 2028. We saw some members of the Politburo and Central Committee actually converging at his farm in Kwekwe. And again, they brought the issue and pleaded with him to say, please, have a rethink. So there is a consistency also in doing that. So which is which?
Well, this is quite an interesting topical issue within us as a party because it is unprecedented. So as a party, we do not have the rule of thumb on how this will play out. But what remains a fact is that the party made a resolution, and that's our resolution number 1 at the conference of October 2024, that the president shall extend his term to 2030. So in the presence of his refusal, we are waiting to see how this will play out, as the leadership will have to seek middle ground with the rank and file of the party, which has urged the president to extend his term up to 2030. So we will see whether it is the voice of the people that shall take over, or the president will insist on ending his term at 2028. So as it is right now, there is no certain end to the matter. We are waiting for it to play out organically.
Quite interesting, eh?
Yes, very interesting.
Because we don't know how it will end.
Yes.
Your resolutions, when they are adopted at conference, does that mean they have to be implemented when you go into the next conference by the end of the time that will have been prescribed?
Well, in essence, when resolutions are put at conference, they have to be implemented by government, because most of the resolutions are resolutions which have to do with the direction and the trajectory which government should be following. As you know, it is a ZANU-PF-led government, so it governs in fulfillment of the party's thrust as per its election manifesto. So when we put resolutions, some indeed have to end to be fulfilled within the year. Then some of these resolutions are continuations of economic plans, maybe a 5-year plan, but which is segmented into a particular year to say that within this ensuing year, such and such targets must be met. So essentially, this is how resolutions are dealt with. But with an unprecedented resolution like this, we are not certain on the timelines or the paradigms in which it must be effected, especially with the fact that the First Secretary has made some statements that he is not extending. So I believe more consultations will be needed between the party, the people, and the leadership.
I'll leave it here because I want you to catch your breath.
Thank you.
Please join us in the second segment as we continue with the ZANU-PF's Director for Information, Mr. Farai Muroiwa Marapira. Welcome back. This week we are in discussion with the ruling party's Director for Information, Mr. Farai Marapira. And we're discussing a lot of things that pertain to the party and also its instructions. And of course, the report card that stems from the performance of its government. Mr. Muroiwa.
Yes, sir.
Farai Muroiwa Marapira.
Yes.
Not Mr. Muroiwa, but Farai Muroiwa
Marapira. Interesting second.
The things that you are telling me, they're keeping me warm.
Indeed. This is a good time to be warm. It's winter. It's winter.
So when we were heading towards the break, you know, you were explaining how the resolutions work, and the critical thing to emerge from your explanation was that most of them, they are to the government, so that they go for implementation, but they differ. Others could be on a 5-year economic plan, which means that they cannot be done in just 1 year.
Yes,
Yeah,
but yes.
because they've got a cycle in which they have to be dealt with.
Mhm.
Interestingly, the issue of 2030, the Justice Minister has actually hinted that a bill could be on the way to make sure that the resolution finds its real life with government implementing it. And the opposition, interestingly, has also come out and said, whilst we don't want to be really involved with the ZANU-PF's internal issues, but we wouldn't mind having to seek dialogue with the ruling party in parliament and to make sure that we defer the 2028 elections and extend the life of the president, parliament, and of course the local councils, which inevitably would mean that, again, we have extended the term of the president to 2030 or probably beyond.
Okay.
Does the government have any room to set aside this thing? Since you expect it to implement, set aside this thing if there is no consensus and if there is no definitive outcome, or you can predict its outcome, like what you said in the last segment. That
the reality of it is that the resolution is there, and the resolution is passed. And once a resolution is there, government has to set itself in motion for the fulfillment of that resolution, because that is the nature of resolutions. Where government has a role to play, they have to play that role, which is why you find the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General are busy trying to find and identifying ways in which this resolution can be effected. And it is interesting and elating to the party rank and file to know that they have found a solution at this juncture. So when there's a resolution, it's not set aside, but we might end up having what we call in legal parlance an obiter dicta, minority minority dissent from His Excellency, because we know that the voice of the people is the voice of God, and we expect as a party that the voice of the people is always fulfilled. So this is why the party came up with the resolution, in the hope and anticipation that the voice of the people is always fulfilled. So like we said, we wait to see how it plays out, but it is quite elating to see that in government, steps are already being taken.
Sure.
Yes.
So we mustn't go ahead of time.
Yes.
Time is never let anyone down.
It must move organically.
Aha, okay.
Yes.
I hear you. So, does this affect your Congress in 2027? Because I know that every 5 years you hold an elective Congress. Does this affect or have any bearing on the 2027 elective Congress?
Well, I do not think it effectively puts any challenge on the Congress. ZANU-PF constitutionally must have a Congress every 5 years, or in the event of a certain circumstance, it can have an extraordinary Congress, which may be before 5 years. So unless anything contrary is said, we are still moving towards Congress in 2027. Nothing has been said about the deferment of Congress, and we are just moving towards it. Yes.
And as a party, we know that in June, you always carry the self-verification exercises.
Yes.
Is this the same this year?
Indeed. In some provinces like Harare, we hear reports that they've already completed their self-verification exercises. As a party which bases its strength on structures, this is one of the most important events on our calendar as a party, because this is when we take stock of how many we are. We take stock of our growth. We take stock of our challenges in recruitment, our successes in recruitment, and so on. So this is a very, very important calendar for the ruling party. So indeed, every June without fail, self-verification must occur, and it is occurring across the country.
Mhm. We have repeatedly, almost annually, for a very long time, heard stories that these verification exercises, they also unearth fake structures. And people then they say, but how does that happen? I'd want to put it to you that people they say, is it possible for a party, which is as huge as ZANU-PF, to have some of its structures bastardized by its members?
Well, you see, where there is human interaction, nothing is impossible. So we can't say that there might not be incidents of creation of fake cells and so on, or people being put into cells which are not related to where they stay. This is something that usually occurs because of the issue of primary elections. So we cannot in truth say that it doesn't happen, but measures have been put by the commissariat department to make this as difficult as possible, because now you find that our cell registration is polling station based. So you cannot be in a voting cell which is outside the parameters of your polling station. So these are some of the simple measures which have been put in place, which are ensuring that fake cells do not find the light of day.
Sure.
Yes.
All right. We'll meet in the final segment.
Thank you.
Please join us as we conclude this week's program in the final segment with ZANU-PF Director for Information, Mr. Farai Marapira. Welcome back, and to those who are just joining us for the first time, we are at the tail end of this week's program, and the room is very warm because of the conversation that we're having with Mr. Farai Marapira, who is the Director for Information at ZANU-PF. Mr. Marapira, a lot of Zimbabweans, those who might be against ZANU-PF and those who support ZANU-PF, they've all said with increasing annoyance that the party and the government are feigning to protect the president, because we always hear issues of some shady characters, issues of some people who don't act with decorum, which should be consistent with the office that the times they visit. The last time as the party, you promised to take corrective measures. Is this something that really also occupies you as the party, that your first secretary, at times his name is sullied by some people who might have been of shady character?
As a party, the name and image of our first secretary is sacrosanct. It is our foremost aim to always ensure that it is not muddied or sullied in any way. And the president is open to all manner of Zimbabweans and even all manner of foreigners. And this leads to a variety of characters that, of course, will find access to him. And, in these social media days, it is necessary to ensure that a character is indeed shady, or not just shady on social media. So we respect and we support the president's open door policy, but we also encourage those that interact with the president to always ensure that their interactions are within the bounds of decorum, they are within the bounds of respecting the office of our first secretary, and they're within the bounds of respecting the entity which he leads, which is one of the world's foremost liberation movements, ZANU-PF.
Sure. An open door policy,
Yes,
is always welcome,
indeed.
because it promotes dialogue.
Dialogue.
Yeah. But there's got to be a certain extent to which things can be promoted and be allowed. One of the reasons that have been cited by even you, the ruling party, where you have actually come out strongly against party affiliates. Do you now have in place, it might not be an official, but something that you would say is a policy towards your affiliates? Because some of the transgressors have actually been located in your affiliates.
What has been the main challenge with some of our affiliates is that we have people that will be wearing two jackets, being a member of the party and being a member of an affiliate. So this has rubbed out the definitive line in the ground. But the commissariat department has been having many meetings with these affiliates and redrawing the line in the sand so that they know that they are affiliated to the party. They are below the party. The party is supreme over the affiliates. And I believe that this message has reached through. And even now, when we are holding our party events and our party affairs, we find that the most affiliates, if not all, now recognize their true role, that they come in support and to complement party activities.
Mm-hmm.
They are not standalone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which speaks again to the issue of mobilization. Because where you have affiliates, they also do the work to support the work of the party. What numbers are we looking at in ZANU-PF in terms of mobilization, the new recruitments? I know we saw you guys were very busy at the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair 2025 in Bulawayo, where there were long queues of people actually registering to be your members. What numbers are we looking at? What's the current number, on top of your head that you have in ZANU-PF?
The new membership will only be clear when we finish our cell verification. So we see by how many numbers we've extended our cell cards. But to be honest, ZANU-PF it can never be oversubscribed since the president says but the way people are coming in droves to join ZANU-PF, as we witnessed at Trade Fair, is just amazing. It is invigorating because it is an endorsement of the policies of the president. It is an endorsement of our policies as ZANU-PF under his leadership. And it is an endorsement of the economic trajectory which the president is guiding this country through. At Trade Fair, we had north of 5,000 people coming to join ZANU-PF who were not members. And this is from the crowd that was within the Trade Fair grounds. And this is a substantial gain in membership and quite a sign to show that we are moving on, we are garnering more members, more and more people are getting attuned to the work that is being done by the president on the economy, by his empowerment activities, which resound indeed in people's pockets and which result in people's economic growth as individuals. So this is quite exciting because we know as ZANU-PF that we are moving from strength to strength, and as the by-elections have shown, we are still the unstoppable game in town.
The alluring power of ZANU-PF.
Yes.
So, with a near comatose opposition in Zimbabwe, do you think that nothing will stand between you and the Holy Grail in 2028?
The only thing that can stand between ZANU-PF and the Holy Grail is ZANU-PF itself. And ZANU-PF will never stand in its own way. All we need to do is to fulfill the mandate of the people and to be in constant touch with the people's wishes. And this is best exemplified by the president himself. After a lot of social media concern and visits by the First Lady herself to clandestinely to medical facilities, the president decided to do an impromptu visit with a private motorcade to Parenyato and Harare hospitals to see for himself. And anyone who has got anyone they know at Parenyato, they can call in and they'll know about the positive changes that have taken place within the 72 hours that the president has been there. 5 boreholes have already been sunk, renovations in the nurses' quarters, renovations in the hospitals themselves. NatFarm will soon be supplying drugs into the government pharmacies. I think by the end of this week, drugs will be mobilized. So this is the nature of ZANU-PF. under the leadership of President Mnangagwa, it is fast acting, it is cognizant of the people's needs, and it is always going back to listen to the desires and the wishes of the people.
Being responsive to the needs of the people.
Servant leadership.
And to make sure that their aspirations, they reach the heights.
Yes.
And there is no domino effect.
No.
Mr. Marapira, always a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having
you here.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Sure.
Yes.
Winter is here. It could be a very long winter, particularly with the cold that is coming from neighboring South Africa. But I can promise you one thing on this program. We'll try to keep you warm with the people that we invite to the program and the discussion that we'll have. Until next week, good night.